Welcome to another deep dive, you guys. Today, we are going to be checking out Melania Trump's memoir. It's called Melania.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it came out this year.
Very cool.
And we thought this would be a really cool one to dig into because, I mean, it's not very often that we get such personal insight into the life of a first lady,
Right.
especially one as private as Melania.
Yeah.
And so, in this book, she covers everything from her childhood in Slovenia, her modeling career, obviously the relationship with Donald Trump, and then the White House years.
It's all in here.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all there, ready for us to unpack.
Well, I'm very excited to get into this. I think what I'm most fascinated about is just how this book, kind of pushes back against the often very one-dimensional portrayal that we see in the media.
Yeah.
This isn't just, a political tell-all or anything like that. This is really just a woman telling her own story, in her own words.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so interesting. She starts right at the beginning
Yeah.
with her childhood in Srebrenica, Slovenia. And, you might think growing up in a communist country would be, well, pretty bleak.
Yeah,
But Melania paints a surprisingly different picture.
absolutely. She talks about a childhood filled with art music and, really close family ties. Her mother was a seamstress, and so you can definitely see where that love of fashion came from.
Oh, yeah?
And her father was a car salesman, but he had a real passion for, beautiful cars and machines. So I think you can see how that kind of appreciation for design and aesthetics was nurtured in her from a young age.
Totally. And it's those details, like the story about her father bringing home a Citroen Maserati SM,
Oh, wow.
that really bring her childhood to life.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about communist ideology or anything like that.
Right.
It was about family hard work
Yeah.
and even a touch of luxury,
Yeah. It's interesting how those values really carry on into her later life, too.
Oh, yeah?
That balance between practicality and aspiration, you see it throughout her whole story,
Yeah.
from the modeling career to her marriage to Donald Trump. It's a very fascinating paradox.
Well, speaking of modeling, I was struck by how she even got her start.
Hmm.
I mean, 6 years old, modeling clothes designed by her mother.
Wow.
Talk about a natural.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's almost like foreshadowing, right?
Mm-hmm.
This early exposure to the world of fashion clearly sparked something in her, and it's something that she would go on to pursue more seriously when she moved to Ljubljana for design school.
Right. And that's where fate kind of intervened.
Yeah.
This chance encounter with a photographer leads to some modeling gigs
Mm-hmm.
alongside her architecture studies.
Mm.
But, Melania really saw it as just a hobby at first,
That's right.
like something to supplement her education.
Which I think really speaks to her practicality and focus.
Yeah.
She wasn't just swept away by the allure of the modeling world or anything.
Right.
She had goals, and she was determined to achieve them, whether that was in design or in front of a camera.
Absolutely.
Ah.
And then there's this interesting story about this Italian modeling contest that she wins,
Oh, yeah.
but the prize money disappears.
Really?
Yeah. Instead of getting angry or
No.
giving up,
Right.
she walks away.
Wow.
I know. And she was offered more work with the studio, but she refused to on principle.
Wow. That took a lot of guts, especially in a competitive industry like modeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can really see that determination taking shape at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like she could have stuck with architecture, which she clearly excelled at.
Mm-hmm.
But she makes a strategic decision to switch modeling agencies in Milan,
Right.
to further her career.
It's a calculated risk for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It shows ambition and a willingness to bet on herself.
Right.
It also shows that she really understands the business side of modeling.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't just, a pretty face.
Totally.
She was actively shaping her own destiny.
Yes. And her experiences in Paris and New York, those were really formative for her.
Yeah.
She talks about the resilience needed to face constant rejection, the temptations that she resisted,
Right.
her commitment to staying true to herself amidst all the glitz and the glamour.
Absolutely. It wasn't all easy.
No.
And what I find so intriguing is her awareness of the pitfalls that a lot of models face. She really saw firsthand the dangers of drugs and unhealthy relationships and exploitation.
Mm-hmm.
But she navigated this world with a remarkable sense of self-preservation and focus.
Yeah. And then comes this incredible moment,
Mm-hmm.
seeing her image on a billboard in Times Square.
Oh, wow.
Talk about a validation of all that hard work and sacrifice.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, it's a powerful symbol of her success in the modeling world, right? A
Right.
real culmination of her journey from a small town in Slovenia to the heart of New York City.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a stepping stone to the next chapter of her life,
Yes.
one that would bring even greater challenges and triumphs.
And that, of course, is where Donald Trump enters the picture.
Yes.
So it's Fashion Week 1998, a party at the Kit Kat Club,
Mhm.
and they meet, and there's an immediate spark,
Oh, yeah.
although not in the way you might expect.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How's...
Well, I mean, this is where Melania's self-assuredness really shines through. Instead of giving Donald her number, she insists on taking his.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was a bold move that immediately set her apart from other women he might have encountered.
Yeah, I can just imagine that scene,
Yeah.
loud music, flashing lights, and there's Melania, cool and collected, just taking control of the situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Donald, ever the businessman, doesn't waste any time.
Right.
He calls her right back
Yeah.
and invites her not to a fancy dinner, but to his property in Bedford.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So he's not just courting her, he's showcasing his world,
Exactly.
his ambition.
It's classic Donald, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mixing business and pleasure, even in the early stages of a relationship.
Right. But for Melania, who is used to hard work and ambition herself, it might have been refreshing,
Yeah,
a sign that they were on the same wavelength.
totally. And that's what she emphasizes throughout the book, is their shared drive, their love of music and movies. Their similar values, despite their very different personalities.
Right.
She's not shying away from the fact that they're an unconventional couple,
Yeah.
but she's highlighting the things that brought them together. But let's be real, it wasn't all smooth sailing.
Yeah.
Their age difference raised eyebrows.
Of course.
The tabloids had a field day with accusations of gold digging, and the public scrutiny must have been intense.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what's interesting is how Melania addresses these criticisms in the book. She doesn't engage in the negativity. Instead, she focuses on their genuine connection, their shared values, their mutual respect for each other's opinions, even when they disagree.
Right. It really humanizes their relationship, It shows them as a couple just trying to build a life together despite this constant media attention.
Absolutely. And then, of course, comes the wedding.
Yes.
Not just any wedding, but a lavish affair at Mar-a-Lago Donald's opulent estate in Florida.
Talk about a spectacle.
I know. Celebrities' performances by Tony Bennett, Billy Joel, Paul Anka. And let's not forget, the fashion Melania's Dior gown chosen, with the help of Vogue editor Anna Wintour, weighed nearly 60 pounds.
Oh, my goodness.
I know. It's a detail that speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Even amidst all the grandeur, she's still the woman with her own sense of style and individuality.
Right.
But beneath the surface of this fairy tale wedding, there's a shift happening in Melania's life.
How so?
Well, the birth of their son, Barron, marks a real turning point. She steps back from modeling, choosing to focus on motherhood.
Yeah.
It's a deliberate choice,
Yeah.
a reflection of her evolving priorities.
And it's a decision that would ultimately shape her approach to the role of First Lady years later.
Right. But before we get there, we need to delve into another fascinating chapter of her life.
Okay.
We're continuing to explore Melania Trump's memoir, Melania. And in this part, we're really going to delve into her journey to becoming an American citizen.
Yeah. This is such a pivotal moment in her story, I think, because it really reveals her determination to fully embrace her new life in America.
Right.
And it wasn't a simple process either. She talks about all the meticulous paperwork, the legal complexities, the challenges of navigating the immigration system.
It really humanizes her,
Absolutely.
She wasn't given any special treatment just because she was married to a wealthy and well-connected man.
Right.
She had to go through the same steps as anyone else seeking citizenship.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
she doesn't shy away from the frustrations and anxieties that she experienced during this process. In fact, she actually later uses her platform as First Lady to advocate for others going through the same experience,
Right.
highlighting the need for empathy and understanding in the immigration debate.
It shows a willingness to use her personal experience to connect with others
Yeah,
and to make a difference, even on a political level.
absolutely.
But before she stepped onto the political stage, Melania found an outlet for her creativity and entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes.
Remember her jewelry line on QVC?
Oh, yes, the Melania timepieces and jewelry collection.
Yes.
I remember that. It was inspired by a gold bracelet that her father had given her.
Wow.
A symbol of family and heritage that she wanted to share with other women.
And what's remarkable is her commitment to making the collection affordable.
Yes.
She wanted women to feel empowered to treat themselves to beautiful pieces, regardless of their budget. It was a refreshing approach in a world that's often so obsessed with luxury and exclusivity.
It really speaks to her practicality and her understanding of everyday women.
Totally.
You know, she wasn't trying to create an elite brand or anything.
Right.
She was trying to make beautiful things accessible.
Yes. And then, of course, there was her foray into skincare.
Oh, yes. The Melania Caviar Complex C6 line.
Yes. That was a real passion project for her.
It was.
She talks about spending months working with chemists, meticulously researching ingredients,
Wow.
ensuring the highest quality.
Mm-hmm.
It was clearly more than just a celebrity endorsement for her.
Right.
It was a business venture that she was deeply invested in.
And it's a venture that unfortunately ran into some roadblocks.
It did.
You know, she faced legal battles with her business partners.
Right.
A stark reminder of the challenges of the business world, even for someone as successful as Melania.
Yeah. But she didn't back down.
No.
She fought for her brand, her reputation, and ultimately won in court.
Good for her.
It shows her tenacity and unwillingness to be exploited.
Yeah.
Qualities that would serve her well in the years to come.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, everything changes when Donald Trump decides to run for president.
Oh, yeah. This is where Melania's life takes a truly dramatic turn.
Right.
She goes from successful businesswoman and mother to being thrust into the global spotlight
Right.
as the potential First Lady of the United States.
And she doesn't sugarcoat the experience at all.
No.
She talks about the initial shock, the feeling of being overwhelmed, the concerns for her son Barron amidst all the upheaval.
It's a side of the story we rarely hear.
Right.
The personal toll of political ambition on a family.
She also describes the mixed emotions of that Election Day morning in 2016.
Yeah.
The anticipation, the crowds, the realization that their lives were about to change forever, regardless of the outcome.
And that long wait for the results, with the pundits predicting a Hillary Clinton victory.
Right.
Must have been a roller coaster of emotions, especially given how polarizing the election was.
Absolutely. And as the evening progresses and the narrative shifts with Donald winning key battleground states, finally at 2:30 a.m., Wisconsin seals the deal.
Wow.
Donald Trump is elected president of the United States.
A moment that would change history
Yes.
and redefine Melania's life forever.
She describes their reaction as a mix of astonishment and excitement.
Yeah.
It's a raw human moment
Yeah.
amidst all the political chaos.
I can imagine.
Imagine going from relative privacy to suddenly becoming one of the most watched women in the world.
Yeah. And just a few hours later, she's standing beside him as he delivers his victory speech.
Right.
The weight of the world on their shoulders.
She talks about the feeling of being overwhelmed, the weight of responsibility as First Lady, the constant media scrutiny, and the concerns for her son, Barron.
Yeah. It's a side we rarely get to see, you know, the human side of this larger-than-life political drama.
But amidst all the chaos, she approaches it with a sense of determination and grace.
She does.
You know, she's committed to protecting her son, navigating the intense media scrutiny,
Right.
and carving out her own path within this new and unexpected role.
She's not shying away from the challenges.
No.
She's facing them head on, just like she's done throughout her life.
Exactly. And it's clear that becoming First Lady wasn't something that she actively sought out.
Right.
But once thrust into the role, she embraces it with a quiet strength, a determination to find her own way within the confines of tradition and expectation.
And that leads us to another pivotal moment in her journey.
Okay.
Her speech at the Republican National Convention in 2016.
Yes.
A speech that would spark controversy and ignite a media firestorm.
The accusations of plagiarism, the intense scrutiny, the feeling of being unfairly targeted.
It was a baptism by fire for the newly minted potential First Lady.
It was. But instead of shying away from the controversy, she addresses it head-on in the book.
She does.
She takes responsibility for the mistake, acknowledging that the speechwriting process wasn't properly vetted.
Right.
But she also expresses her frustration, the feeling of being misunderstood, and how the focus on the speech overshadowed the message she was trying to convey.
It's a reminder of how quickly things can spiral out of control in the world of politics.
Right.
How one misstep can overshadow years of hard work and dedication.
It also speaks to the double standard often applied to women in the public eye.
Yes.
Especially those married to powerful men.
But what's important here is her resilience.
Right.
She doesn't let this incident define her. She learns from it, moves on, and continues to carve out her own space within the White House.
Absolutely. She refuses to be defined by the expectations of others, choosing instead to focus on issues she's passionate about.
Right. And that brings us to her Be Best initiative.
Yes.
a platform aimed at promoting the well-being of children and focusing on the positive impacts of social media and technology.
It was a controversial choice,
It was.
with some criticizing its focus on cyberbullying, given her husband's often inflammatory online behavior.
Right.
But she defends her choice,
Yeah.
arguing that it was a topic close to her heart, something she felt strongly about.
And it really highlights the challenges of separating personal beliefs from political realities,
Yes.
particularly when you're the First Lady of the United States.
She was walking a tightrope, navigating a very polarized landscape, and trying to stay true to herself amidst the constant scrutiny.
But she didn't back down.
No.
She continued to travel the world representing the United States, advocating for children, and showcasing her own unique style.
Right.
A style that often spoke louder than words.
Think about those iconic fashion moments.
Yes.
The white pick helmet in Kenya, the Dolce & Gabbana floral coat in Italy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, she used fashion as a form of communication,
She did.
a way to make a statement, and sometimes even a subtle form of rebellion.
It was bold, it was daring, and it definitely got people talking.
Yes.
Yes.
It showed that she wasn't afraid to take risks, to stand out from the crowd,
Right.
and to use her platform in unconventional ways.
And it's those moments of individuality that make her story so compelling.
Right.
She wasn't content to simply be a silent figurehead.
No.
She wanted to make a difference on her own terms.
Yes. But then comes 2020, a year that would test the world and the Trump presidency like never before.
Right.
The pandemic, the protests, the election.
Oh, my
It
God.
was a pressure cooker of a year, both personally and politically.
It was. And Melania doesn't shy away from discussing the challenges they faced as a family. The strain on their relationship, the constant barrage of criticism, and the feeling of isolation that often comes with life in the White House.
She offers a glimpse behind the curtain,
Yeah.
a reminder that even in the most powerful positions, human struggles remain.
Right.
She's a wife, a mother, a woman trying to navigate extraordinary circumstances with grace and dignity.
Absolutely. And then comes the election loss.
Right.
A bitter pill to swallow for the Trump family.
It was. She describes the disappointment, the sense of disbelief, the difficulty of accepting the outcome,
Yeah.
and the weight of knowing that their time in the White House was coming to an end.
But she also talks about finding a sense of relief,
She does.
a chance to step back from the relentless pressure of public life.
Right.
And return to a sense of normalcy, to focus on her family and to reclaim her own narrative.
And that's where we find her now, back in the role of wife, mother, and author,
Yes.
writing her own story on her own terms.
It's a fascinating evolution from a private individual thrust into the global spotlight to a woman forging her own path, using her voice to share her experiences and perspectives.
And as we head into the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore what this memoir ultimately reveals about Melania Trump,
Yes.
the woman behind the headlines, the complexities, the vulnerabilities, and the resilience that has shaped her extraordinary journey.
Journeyed through so much of Melania Trump's life, from that childhood in Slovenia all the way to the White House years, all through the lens of her memoir, Melania. But now we're at the point where we got to ask, what does it all mean?
You know, what really struck me is how, through it all, Melania seems to maintain such a strong sense of it's evident throughout the book how much she values self-reliance.
Yeah.
It's a thread that runs from those early modeling days to building her own businesses, even within a marriage, to one of the world's most powerful men.
It's almost like this paradox, isn't it? This fierce independence within such a high-profile relationship.
Right.
Did you get a sense of how she balanced that? Well, she's very open about, creating her own space, both physically and emotionally, I think. Within the whole Trump family dynamic, she talks about, disagreements and differing viewpoints,
Right.
but always with an emphasis on respect and communication.
Right.
It's not about control, but finding that harmony amongst all those big personalities.
And that really resonates with her approach to being First Lady, too.
Oh, absolutely.
She didn't try to fit any mold.
Right.
She focused on the issues that she cared about, even when they sparked controversy, like the Be Best initiative.
Yeah, a lot of people criticize that,
They did.
but she very much defends it in the book. Cyberbullying, regardless of the political implications, was something that she felt very strongly about.
Right.
It shows a woman guided by conviction, not just, following the expected path.
And it makes those fashion choices all the more interesting.
Oh, totally.
That white pith helmet in Kenya, the floral coat in Italy.
Yeah,
Was that just style or a subtle form of messaging, too?
I think it was both. Melania clearly uses fashion to communicate.
Right.
In a world where her words were so often scrutinized.
Yeah.
Clothing became a way for her to express her individuality,
Right.
sometimes even like a quiet rebellion against expectations.
It's interesting reading those final chapters where she reflects on the White House years.
Yeah.
They almost feel peaceful, like
Yeah.
she's weathered a storm and come out the other side with a newfound sense of calm.
Yeah, there's no bitterness or score settling or anything like that.
Right.
It's really just reflection, an attempt to make sense of this extraordinary journey,
Yeah.
sharing her truth without apology.
It's not Melania seeking validation.
Yeah.
It's her offering understanding.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes this memoir so compelling.
Yes.
It's not a tell-all. It's an invitation to see beyond the headlines, to grasp the human being, not just the public figure.
And that's the key takeaway for our listeners, right?
Absolutely.
We judge based on these snippets, sound bites, carefully crafted images.
Right.
This book peels back those layers. It reminds us that even in the most powerful positions, people are still individuals navigating life, love, family, just like us.
Yeah.
It's really made me reconsider my own assumptions about Melania Trump. I see the challenges she's overcome, the strength it took to stay true to herself. Has it shifted your perspective at all?
Oh, absolutely. That's the power of a deep dive like this, right?
Yeah.
We explore these multiple perspectives, challenge our assumptions, and we reach our own conclusions. What resonates with you, dear listener, is the real question.
Yes. What stands out? What questions linger? We encourage you to explore Melania's story further. Consider how these personal experiences shape public perception, and really contemplate the complexities of the woman behind that First Lady facade. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.